All right. Hi, everyone. It's me, the Broke Stacker. Today is day 7. Yesterday on day 6, we got a lot done. We bolted up and torqued up both the cylinder heads. We got the hardware in, of course. We put the valley pan in, the intake manifold, and the distributor. By that time, it was 11 o'clock at night, and, well, it was dark. I didn't want to lose anything. So, yes, now I got really lucky. And sometimes, just to prove it can be the little things. So I went to a local gearhead shop around here. It's all about big block Mopars, and they helped me out, and they had some exhaust manifold studs. So these are going to work great. These are a little bit longer, but I think they're going to work great for the for our application here. These are obviously some aftermarkets versus this is the stock one right here. So this is the stock one. I broke the very first bolt I was trying to get off of the exhaust manifold studs. By the way, if you're going to do those, put them in the heads before you put the heads, install the heads. Probably make your life a lot easier, but I forgot to do it, so I'm going to install them. On the front of these heads, the front bolts on both sides, I believe those are connected to water jackets. So we're going to have to silicone a couple of these, put them in, get all those in, get our exhaust manifolds installed, fully bolted up to the exhaust, be done with that. Probably at that point we'll install the spark plugs, clean those up, put them back in because they are fouled. But don't worry, they're basically brand new. They might have 5,000 miles on them. I'm pretty certain we're going to have problems installing the aftermarket, not aftermarket, but the alternator relocation bracket. That I'm probably going to save for tomorrow, or at least get an idea what I need for tomorrow. That's probably going to take a trip or two to the hardware store to make all that work. I have the brackets, but the hardware I don't think is going to work. Okay, this is the driver's side. We got all of our exhaust manifold studs in place, along with the spark plugs. I elected to do the spark plugs beforehand, just so I wouldn't be fighting to get them in there later. They can be a pain, especially with the power steering pump and the steering rack on this side, so I just did that. But if a word of advice, if you decide to do that, be extremely careful when placing your exhaust manifold, because if you aren't, you have a good chance you're going to break one of those off and have to take them out and put it back in. It's a bigger pain in the butt to take it out with a broken off piece of porcelain. So if you do it, be very careful. Here we go. Ooh, spark plugs. Of course, now I got a dent on the hood. That means the car's officially mine. Here we go. Like a glove. Yeah, that manifold is in place. We're going to go ahead and repeat all that procedure on the passenger side, and we'll be ready to bolt up the exhaust on the bottom. Okay, we got our exhaust manifolds in place. I'm going to crawl under the car now and hook up the exhaust to the manifolds and say probably every F word known to man, because it was pulling teeth putting them in. It's probably going to be even harder it was hard to pull them out. It's probably going to be harder to put them in while lining up gaskets and such. So wish me luck. Okay, here is a helpful tip. These are the two gaskets for the exhaust manifold to the exhaust gaskets it came with, right? Now, which one do you think would fit this? This is the 383, right? You think they look about the same, but look, they're not quite the same on the bolt hole. So keep an eye out for that. Get your original out and match it up. I made an ass out of you and me, and I tried to make this work with this, and that does just not work. So now I got to go underneath and undo the one bolt I got started, which is pulling teeth. By the way, if you're doing this, you got a lift, God bless you. If not, God help you. Hi everyone, it's me, the Broke Stacker. I made a bunch of progress yesterday, and I was stopped filming because I was getting frustrated. So, what happened yesterday, I ended up putting the old leaky power steering pump back on, including the very swollen lower radiator hose. New belt though. That's going to come off real easy. It's just this one clamp for the return line, this one line, 2 bolts, and take the belt off, and then the whole thing comes off. It's right there. It's really easy because the AC's out of the way, right? So I'm not too worried about that. I ordered the new pump because the other style, let me show you. This other style does not have any of the mounting, and all the mounting is on the valve body. This is your valve body. It's supposed to have 2 bolt holes kind of coming this way, so the bolt holes come in this way and one on the back side, and then the high return right here, the high pressure side right here for the inlet. It's not the right pump. So I did some homework and I got the right one ordered. This one will have to get returned. Keep an eye out for that. There are 2 different kinds of pumps for these. Before you go pulling the trigger and ordering something, make sure you got the right one. So yeah, it is going to leak for a while until I get that new part in, which is 2 weeks out. I'm not waiting that long to get the same back together. I was going to do valve covers last night, but I was so distraught getting this thing on and off. It was uphill getting that pulley on and off. It's just really tight. I don't think it had ever been off at this pump. This has to be the factory pump. Also, the other reason I was very frustrated yesterday was trying to get the right hardware for this alternator relocation bracket. I went and found this one. This is a 3/8. This is a grade 5 bolt. This is the only one I could find in a 7-inch bolt. Yes, you heard me right. It has to be about a 7-inch bolt. What stopped me last night, this I probably could take all the way off, but look where the bolt's at. And it's part of the timing cover. It's right behind this. This will have to come off. That'll have to come off. I probably have to remove the entire timing cover to get that off. So what I did, I just put a wrench on this and bend it out of the way, so I should be able to get the alternator under no problem. So that's just there for aesthetics. Maybe it's a ground for later, who knows. So I had to wait all night to go get a 4 and a 4.5-inch bolt. We'll see which one fits better, but I have those ready to go now, and I even got a couple extra spacers. They have these at the parts store. These are really clever. This one's a little bit shorter. Where's the longer one at? Well, it's around here somewhere. There it is. And you got the longer one. I couldn't find anything like in a 2 or 3 inch, but I bought several of these so I can mix and match and make whatever work. Okay, this is frustrating. Check this out. This guy, whoever this was, he not only siliconed on the head side, which is fine, it came right off, but he also siliconed on the pan side. What a pain. He just why did he even bother using a gasket? Just used a freaking whole tube of black RVT silicone per freaking valve cover. So let that be a lesson to you. If it's your car, I mean, I don't care if it's your car or not, don't do this. I'm gonna probably be here for 2 hours cleaning these 2 valve covers. Okay, finally I got that on there. I cleaned those valve covers, both of them, for I don't know, hour and a half each. Or not each, but just I spent a lot of time on them. Honestly, they're that far bad. They're $50 for 2 of them online. Put them in your order, make your life a lot easier, and it'll look prettier too. But I got the gasket surface good enough. It should seal. Normally I go with a rubber seal, but in this kit that they sent me, these are cork. So we'll see how these fare up. Okay, after making about 100 trips to the store and back, I have successfully placed this alternator with the original double pulley system that went with the air conditioning. Look at this angle right here. That's what I'm looking at right there. The V in this with the water pump with the pulley on the very end of the crank all lines up. I'm about to slip another belt on it now. The other belt, I couldn't quite get it on there. The 7445 doesn't fit. That's what it originally calls for with this setup from Kragen's, but for some reason that doesn't work. You got to do a 7460. I've been making some progress today, as you can see, with my spacers and washers and the 7-inch lawn bolt. I made it work. Had to get some extra spacers. These two were factory off of the old bracket system, and I placed those together. I actually had to grind this one down about a 1/16 of an inch to make this fit. Goes right to the cylinder head here, and the other anchor point is down here on that half moon. Well, the triangle bracket here's the top, goes to the timing housing. Apparently this timing cover / water pump housing, you have to have a 1968 and up for this bracket to work. This is a 69 vehicle, so that's not a problem. And yeah, this will come over, this little bracket here will come over here onto the bottom bolt on the alternator for our adjustment. Not my proudest moment using all these washers and spacers and stuff, but I think it's gonna work. Okay, good news, bad news, funny news. I stopped everything last night because I was short hardware. This bolt down here, the very bottom of the triangle, it wouldn't line up. Well, it was lining up, but I had the 5-inch bolt, right? And it was just too long. I needed a bunch of washers, a spacer in there or something, or I was like, you know what, screw it. I'll just wait till tomorrow and go get a 4.5-inch bolt instead of the 5. So yeah, I waited all day to do that, and now look at this. You guys can see this. This comes up on the bottom. That is so funny, and I already measured it. It's the difference of this. So I'm gonna have to take this bolt out I just bought, use the factory one that I already have, the 5-inch, put this on the head of it, and that bracket should swing right over to the bottom bolt for this alternator. I think I'm having so many issues. This ear should be, I believe, just right up against this bracket or on the other side of it, but it's not, because I believe this alternator was very specific for the vehicle with air conditioning, not without. So I'm almost wanting to go buy one just to prove my point, but I'm not going to do that. I bet you the alternators are a little bit different. So this is kind of the fix. You guys can see if I can straighten that out. The belt's nice and straight. This is a fix if you want to use the old alternator on here. Trying to figure out all these washers and spacers. Maybe just go get the right alternator. But we're on a shoestring budget here. We spent an extra $12 on hardware instead of $200 on an alternator. Okay, like I just said, I put the 5-inch bolt in there. The one I already had, yay! I did need to get the extra spacer, so I would have had to go to the hardware store anyways. I only had the 2 last night. I got an extra one just because I was like, I don't want to go back to the hardware store, so it's cool. I got this one. Now here's the magic moment. Does it come up to that plane where this bolt is right here? That's money. Put that right there. Yeah, that's gonna work great. Look at that. That's just perfect. That's that fix. If you have the air conditioning alternator and you want to make it work with the non-air conditioning brackets, when they just send you just the brackets and no hardware, that's kind of how you're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to do a 5-inch bolt here on the bottom. This is just a little 1 or 2 inch. I think these are all 3/8 bolts. 3/8 by 16 thread. And this one's gonna have to be a 7-inch. All right, guys, if you see this, let me get the perspective right. If you see from here, this is where the inside of that ear, this was, we've brought it all the way forward 2 inches. All right, this thing's starting to resemble an engine a little bit, and ran the spark plug wires, got that all connected. I hooked up the throttle linkage. Here, let me turn this light on. Hooked up the throttle linkage back over here, torqued that down. This is that little throttle return spring bracket I was talking about earlier. I'm gonna take a quick break and figure out, I got all the wiring from the wiring harness here all the way down hooked up. even to the coil. I got to hook up the ground over to the distributor, I'm pretty sure. I think it's just going to be this one. There's no instructions, and it came with this, but again, no instructions. I'm going to go do some research on 440source.com and make sure before I go cutting any wires and just assuming stuff, and then I'll be back. This is starting to come together. Power steering pump's in place, alternators in place, belts are in place. I just got to put the fan on it really quick. Then I'll do the upper radiator hose. I've been kind of neglecting to do that because it just would have been in the way the whole time. Spark plugs are in place. Spark plug wires, distributor mostly in place. We'll have to tune that, of course. But yeah, it's starting to come together, guys. And I think today we're going to probably finish up, maybe finishing up wiring the distributor and taking a stab at ripping and breaking down the Carter AFB carburetor here. Once we get that tore apart, put back together again, the mounting, the bottom base plate of this Carter AFB will not bolt up to this intake. This intake's more set up for the Holley setup, which is funny because I put the Holley on the other one and I needed the adapter plate. I'm hoping I can reverse engineer this adapter plate. Just switch the bolts around. Put this bolts on the intake side of this intake, and then use these on these holes, and be able to use this adapter plate with that Carter AFB on this intake manifold. That's the plan. Till next time, guys. Keep stacking, stack 'em high.